just a couple weeks away from turning 44, and his trainer, Alex Guerrero, believes that Brady is still on track to hit that goal.
I mean, yeah, I expect him to play this year and next year. I try to keep his body 3 years ahead of where we're going to be. So I'm thinking about not just next year, but I'm thinking about, well, what if they feel so good at 45, he wants to play at 46? I don't know. So I better plan. To think about how I need to get his body prepared for 46 or 47. Like, I don't know. It might be 45. It might be 44. But I just know that I want to hold up my end of the bargain of working hard to support his goal of playing to 45.
Well, his contract is through age 45. So he has 2 years left on his contract.
It may very well come down to how does this season end? If it ended with an injury, if it ended ugly, maybe
I think if it doesn't end with an injury, I could see him playing through this.
Yeah.
He's a goal guy. He takes care of his body. So it's never been, I've never been in the camp of like Tom Brady is done. I've always felt like that was a huge waste of time. I think people are going to start talking about that with LeBron as well. And I think that's also a waste of everyone's breath. These are the two athletes in our lifetimes that for the most part have been excellent care of their body. It is a part of their daily routine. You are what you habitually do, and they take care of themselves. Now, they've also been blessed to not have these freak accidents as well. It's a little bit of luck involved also, but if you take care of your body, you are more than likely to be healthy. Yeah. I could see him playing through it. I don't think Tom is one of those guys who's going to play it out until it's ugly. Like, he's not going to be one of those guys that we're all like...
Well, also, his brand TB12 is about preservation and life elevation, and so that would go against his brand. His brand is ageless. Tom wants to leave...
looking ageless.
That's right. It's good for his brand. So
exactly.
He didn't start this brand about 4 years ago. He really started putting time into it and building it, and this brand... doesn't feel nearly as cool if he wobbles for the last 2 years in the NFL. Looks like an old man.
Yeah, the Bucs are at the White House today, and he's up there cracking jokes.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. There you go.
Let me see.
He's right next to Bruce Arians.
God, look at that.
Is that fantastic or what?
It's great. The ageless Tom Brady.
That's amazing. That makes me happy. Joy with the news.
That's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Live.
Actually, since they're going to be featured on Hard Knocks this season, and Stephen Jones is excited for things to get started. He said, we're pumped up. All these things leading up to the season are huge. Obviously, our world has been through a lot with the pandemic. You can't just assume you're going to flip the switch and everything is going to be fine. We feel a lot of buildup, including Hard Knocks, is a good thing to get people fired up about reconnecting and rolling. They went 6-10 in McCarthy's first season as a head coach, and they've missed the playoffs the last 2 seasons. You have them at 9-8 this season, with Washington at 10-7, Giants at 8-9, and the Eagles 4-13.
Listen, sometimes the advantage is where you play, and they play in a division where the Eagles are completely in rebuild mode. The Giants aren't, but don't know if their quarterback's good, and Washington's got the best defense, but we are looking at Ryan Fitzpatrick. Is this the 9th team in 17 years? So that's why Cam Akers to the Rams feels like a staggering loss because of that division. Dallas has massive questions on defense. Rams defense was number 1 in the NFL. The Cowboys was the worst in terms of points allowed, and you would not be shocked if they won the division.
No, I wouldn't be shocked if they won the division. No. I actually think they will win the division. While I do like the momentum that Washington has built, the foundation that Ron Rivera has brought into there, the culture he's brought in there, their defense is incredible. I'm sorry, we all like Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't trust him as the everyday starting quarterback in Washington. I understand this is the division, but I don't understand that move.
Right.
It's obviously not a long-term move.
Right.
Ron Rivera felt like maybe they have some plans they're going to, attack next year. I think they're going to be too good to be in a situation to draft a quarterback.
Yeah.
Regardless, I could see Dak coming back and having a huge year and compensating for what the defense is not, especially in this division. But they do have a lot going on right now. You have Dak coming back. You have that defense. What's going on with McCarthy? You have Hard Knocks. Everyone is still dealing with the pandemic. It's a lot. But one thing the Cowboys always are is interesting. So Tom Brady has said he wants to play until 45 many times. So
Malcolm Brown, and this didn't make a lot of news, but he was their second back. He's their power back. He got moved to Miami. So now they don't have the wiggle, the explosive back, nor do they have their power back. And remember, McVay's offense is really like Kyle Shanahan's offense. We think of them as high-flying and explosive and dynamic. They're based on a strong running game. So now the Rams suddenly have no depth at running back, no number one running back. They also lost their number 2 tight end, Gerald Everett, to Seattle. Their defensive coordinator is now the Chargers head coach. Their passing game coordinator is now the Seahawks offensive coordinator. They lost Michael Brockers to Detroit. They lost Malcolm Brown, didn't make news, to Miami. And they lost their top safety, John Johnson, to Cleveland, and their third corner, Troy Hill, to Cleveland. So the headline, the big headlines, Matt Stafford and the Rams. Totally headline worthy. But just say it out loud. They just lost their number 1 running back for the year, their number 1 power back, their number 2 tight end, their number 1 safety, their number 3 corner, their defensive coordinator. Oh, yeah, their center, Austin Blythe. He's gone now, too. You know, we think of the Cowboys as dysfunctional and not a Super Bowl contender. We think of the Rams as highly functional and a Super Bowl contender with a great coach. But they're a lot closer than you think. They've got a handful of high-end stars and very little depth. And right now, the Rams, they've got 3 stars. Jalen Ramsey's a great corner, a little temperamental, but a great corner. Aaron Donald's the best defensive lineman in football, and Matt Stafford's great. And they are now not as good at center, not as good at running back, not quite as deep in the secondary, not as good at safety. They lost a super bright defensive coordinator. Maybe the Cowboys and the Rams are not that different. A lot of high-end players, not a lot of depth, and 1 or 2 injuries from being a non-playoff team. Joy with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
This is why you have amendments to your predictions.
Now, this will be an amendment. Like, I'm not saying, we know it's always the drip, 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 the water.